Have you ever had something important to share or create, something you really wanted to do, and you just found yourself frozen, not moving forward, not sure how to start? Come along with me as I find my voice. Um, I'm going through exactly that right now. I'm in a place of transition, and I just realized that I might not want to do the thing I've been putting all of my attention into. I've been recreating my coaching business now for about a year. I've been putting effort in to figuring out how to get it back off the ground. So about 6 years ago, I was injured. I had a coaching business, and then I got injured, and I stepped away to focus on healing. And ever since, every time I got a little better, I wanted to jump back into my coaching business. And then something would happen and I would stop. And I just haven't really found the motivation, the time. There just seems to always be something stopping me. And so for the past year, I've been putting effort in. I created the business. I hired a coach to help me get it going. I did some social media stuff, and I've just been having a really hard time committing and finding the motivation and desire. And honestly, what I just realized is I'm not finding the joy in it anymore. And that's the thing that motivates me to do everything, is how fun is it? So in this place of living and working towards something that I'm not sure that there's a lot of joy in anymore, I've just realized that I'm a little paralyzed. I stopped moving forward. This channel was maybe going to contribute to that coaching business, but also I've had this desire for a really long time to share about the life that I created with my daughter as she's grown up. I've wanted to do this for so long, since she was little, but I also just wanted to be in the moment with her, so I never really stepped forward into creating and sharing about our life. Also, there was this point when she didn't want me sharing about her on social media, and so I stopped that too. That was around the same time I had my injury. A lot of things happened around the same time, so I just kind of came off of the socials and kind of went into my own world. And as I've started stepping back out into the greater world, I'm realizing that maybe my interests have changed. And I am not sure exactly now what direction I want to go in, what I want to be creating, or how I want to share about our life, and if I do. So I'm in a little bit of a discovery place, and so I thought I'd just come on and talk about that space of discovery and uncertainty, because I really did lose my focus and I froze, and I didn't realize that I was frozen. What happens when we freeze? Have you ever had this deep desire to do something and you just can't get yourself to do it? Maybe it's speaking up in a relationship, or going after a job or a dream that you have, and it seems so hard and unattainable, or you don't know how to get started, and you sit and you wonder and you think and think and think about all the ways, and then perfectionism gets in the way, or maybe the self-shaming spirals that we go into when we're being perfectionists. I know that one gets me a lot. And then the questioning, the constant questioning. Who cares? Why is it important? What if I say something wrong, or say something in the wrong way? Or what if I hurt someone? Hurt someone that I care about with the things that I share? That's something that I run into when I want to share things. And that's because I'm coming from the lens of a coach, a relationship coach. So, and I teach by using examples from my own life. So when I share things, I share about my own life and some of the people who are involved in those events, even if I don't share their name or how I related to them specifically. They may hear it and they may know that I'm talking about experience that I had with them, and it could hurt them. And I don't want that. I don't think that people hurt me on purpose. Not usually. I did marry a narcissist once, and that's part of their MO. But I don't think that most people hurt us on purpose. And so when I'm speaking about those experiences, it's not a blame or a shame, it's just that experience that I had, but it can really hurt someone. Or maybe we want to speak up in a relationship and we know that the thing that we're going to say is going to trigger the other person, so instead we keep our voice silent. And that might keep that other person comfortable, but it wrecks us, our internal world. Walking on eggshells never helps anyone to share their voice or feel heard and seen and understood. And I think that when we have something to share, create, or bring into the world, you can't do that from a place of holding back. So, I realize that I function from those places, and I wonder if that's what's holding me back, or if it's the lack of the joy. So in this place, I have things to share. I'm excited about them, and then I get scared, or I let interactions with people stop me. And I stop myself. So there's no blame on anybody when I'm not creating. And we can't blame anybody when we choose to walk on eggshells or keep our voice silent or stop ourselves moving forward in a dream or a business, or asking for what we want in a relationship. That's our own internal struggle, that's our own thing that we have to look at, of what makes me hold back. And what if I didn't? I'm in the space right now of, what if I didn't? So what? I don't know what direction I'm going in. I have to discover it. So what are the steps to discovering? That's number one, acknowledging it. Acknowledging right where I am right now. Oh, I've put a lot of effort into creating this coaching business. And maybe I wasted some time, effort, energy, but I learned a shit ton on the way. So I acknowledge that maybe that's not the fun thing. Maybe I don't want to do it that way. That's okay. Acknowledging and allowing. We have to create that allowance in our world when things change, because that's life. Things change. We may be in a relationship for many years and realize one day that that's not the relationship for us. It may not be serving me or my partner or the kids, and then it's time to leave it. And there's a lot of shame that comes with that. There's a lot of shame with being in a job for years and then deciding one day that you're not happy and you want to quit. In these moments when we learn that we're not in the place that's making us happy. We're not in a job or a relationship, or maybe it's an environment, the home, the relationship with your kids even. It's not making you happy, then it's time for a change of perspective. We just look at things from a different lens and ask questions. So what are some questions that we can ask? Some questions that I'm asking myself right now. And that is, now that I've acknowledged where I am and given myself allowance to be in that space of, whoops, I don't want to go that way anymore. Now that I'm there, now we get to ask fun questions. They can be fun. Finding the answers can be fun. So, the first one is what actually brings me joy? If this isn't bringing me joy, what could I do today that could make me happy? And that's honestly why I'm out at this really beautiful place. I went out and went to different places around town, and I searched for a beautiful place to create a video. My first video in I think a couple months, because I really did freeze and find ways to distract myself. So I asked that question, what would bring me joy today? It's a beautiful sunny day in the Pacific Northwest, and I wanted to be outside in the sun. I wanted to smell fresh air, and if I could, I wanted to find some water and hear it. So behind me there's a little tiny bit of waves back there, and it's really fun to sit here making the video, letting my skin soak up the sun and talk to you. So yeah, what would bring you joy today? It doesn't have to be the big grand scheme of things. It's right now. Because a thing that happens when you go into transformation, and a lot of times when we get to these big points in our life of needing that big change, like a divorce or a change of job, career, that's when I notice people end up in their transformation seminar, maybe their first one of their life. I have a lot of experience with transformation seminars because I became obsessed with them. I think back when my daughter was 6, she's 18, so 12 years ago I think I went to my first one. And then I just kept going to them obsessively. All kinds of different seminars. And what I noticed was I was young, I think 30 when I went to my first transformation workshop or retreat, and most of the people who are at those workshops were age maybe 42 to 60. They were older. I was always the youngest one in the groups that I went to. Not always, because as I got older, some younger girls, mostly girls, you usually do see women in these transformational spaces because we tend to look at ourselves sooner. Be willing to say, something's going wrong in my life. I wonder what I've done to create that and what I can do differently. For some reason, men don't think that way as often as we do. So so most of the people, women and people that I met in these workshops were older, and this age that I am now, I'm 43, and they were usually this age when they're starting transformation. Anyway, when you go to those workshops, it's you go to the week-long retreat and you have great epiphanies and see yourself in a different light and a different space, and you're away from your everyday life, getting tools and ideas and about life and the way you could be living or things that you've been doing that you want to change. And then you go back to your life and you want to make this gigantic change. Quit your job that you've had for 20 years or leave your husband. Now, I did leave one husband after a 3-day body work. I went to a Traeger workshop and learned Traeger massage, and it regulated my nervous system so much that I couldn't be in the relationship that I was in when I went home, and I asked for a divorce immediately. And before the second part of the workshop, I was already in the process of getting divorced. But it doesn't always have to be the big changes, is the moral of that big story. You can just ask, like, what is one thing I can do today to create more joy, ease, pleasure in my life and shift this. And that could be just researching new things that bring you happiness. It could be going out to find a new environment to spend your day in. It could be going to a new restaurant or eating a new food, cooking your favorite dish that you haven't eaten in a really long time because you're trying to lose weight and it's not on the list of things that are okay. It could be anything, but just bringing some focus onto the joy and pleasure in your life would give you a new perspective and kind of rejuvenate where you're coming from. And once you're in that space, like once I'm in this space today, I feel so much more alive. And when we're choosing from our place of joy, it's so much easier to make choices that are going to expand our life. I love hearing that dog play behind me. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but a dog just like jumped into the water. And he's back there splashing around right behind me. Cute. And once you start having that sense of joy and pleasure and this makes me happy in your decision making. Now, first of all, I want to say, like, I know that choosing from those places or allowing yourself to have that can be weird at first, or maybe it's not okay because we're not really taught that life can be joyful. I see a lot of people, I used to trigger a lot of people because I live my life from a place of what creates joy, and I'm really lucky that I got to do that. Well, lucky, and I chose to do that on purpose, because when you come from a background of having a lot of trauma in your world, at some point you get to the decision that you want to have more fun, and you're allowed. Like, what if you're allowed to just live from joy? Who says we have to suffer constantly? I was deployed in Afghanistan and Iraq at different times when I was in the army, and I mean, when you're at war, the idea is like I literally could die at any moment. And so when I came home, I kind of lived from like, what if I died at any moment? Would I be enjoying? Do I like the life that I had? And I didn't. Like, it took me a long time to get to the place of like being able to choose from joy, because it felt wrong, and I had struggles with depression, but it was that experience of the military deployments and then having my daughter and realizing like I want her life to be full of joy. I don't want it to be full of trauma and hardship like I've experienced. And so I really put a lot of effort into figuring out how to make things fun. And so that's my first go-to when I am not having fun. And right now, in the sharing of my voice or figuring out how it's supposed to go and listening to the coach of how you're supposed to do it right to pull in the clientele or whatever, I wasn't having fun. It isn't fun. It hasn't been fun for a few months, and I've been resisting it with everything that I have. So now I'm leaning into the joy and actually being me. I just had to step back for a minute and find that. And the things I distracted myself with was a lot of fun. But I wasn't moving forward in the desire. So when we're choosing from joy, choose from joy, have a lot of fun, and then ask yourself, like, how can I create a life around this? Because you don't have to run off out of your, what if you don't have to run off out of your life to really go enjoy and enjoy every day? So you don't have to run off to a retreat for 7 to 10 days and just have fun and then go back to your sad, mundane, boring life that you hate. What if the life that you live could just be joyful? And yeah, it's a really great reminder to me that I need a little bit more joy in my life, and I would love to find the way to create this world I want to create and share it in a way that comes across as authentic and joyful and changes lives. So that's what I'm discovering, and I hope that what I've shared today gives you a little insight into how to add more joy in your life and share your voice in your relationships, and don't be afraid if it's going to hurt someone, because you are hurting someone by keeping yourself quiet or small. You're hurting yourself. And that's gonna also be full of regret and resentment eventually towards yourself. We can't blame anybody else when we decide to shrink for others' comfort or in the fear of doing something wrong or embarrassing ourselves. And so what if we just go ahead and do what we want and say things? We can find healthy ways to say things and share things, but share it. Find a way and share who you are. Share your voice and ask for your needs to be met. And yeah, because eventually we will be mad at ourselves. We can't blame the other person if we've kept our voice quiet. Okay, I think that's all that I've got for today. If you stayed with me, thank you. Please like and subscribe so that I can see you again. And to the men who are watching this,